This week on Focus Asia, the power of persuasion, how image is winning out over issues in the Philippine presidential campaign. Homeward bound, why Pakistan's professionals are heading back to their roots. And turning heads, the Myanmar artist who doesn't paint faces.
Hello and welcome to Focus Asia. From our studios in Hong Kong, I'm Mark New. First to the Philippines, where the nation elects a president on May 10th. As is often the case there, music, theatrics, and celebrity status are key factors in the campaign. President Gloria Macapagal Aroyo is being challenged by movie star Fernando Poe Jr., who is an icon among millions of poor. And as Rob McBride reports, many candidates for the 17,000 other posts in local and national government are making sure their campaigns don't go without a song and dance either.
Facing off against each other while at the same time dealing with the demands of new technology and new media. For those hoping to be the next president of the Philippines, this is a battle being fought on many fronts.
What's very much different right now is we've got technology, which was not present in 1998 during the presidential campaign. We've got text messaging through cell phones. Print one message and you can reach 100, 200 people at any one time. And the messages can either promote your candidate or put down your opponents.
Relly Herman is a veteran of Philippine elections, having worked for the ousted former president Joseph Estrada. Today, he and his team are helping to get the now president, Gloria Macapagal Aroyo, re-elected in a campaign which this time has the added complexities and costs of political advertising on TV.
Right now, it's $4,000 for a 15-second spot. That's just one spot. 15 seconder, and you'll have to advertise, at least 3-4 times a day in one channel, in one program.
Candidates who are serious about the campaign have to spend that kind of money.
Have to spend that kind of money, yes.
Raul Rojo is serious, putting the finishing touches to his message before recording his ad.
Because I can memorize. Right. It takes 2 hours, but...
Politicians getting to grips with advertising, advertisers getting to grips with politicians. This is uncharted territory for everyone.
They are a product, but they're a little bit scarier than an ordinary product. Let me tell you why. If it's a bad case of shampoo and we fool them into buying shampoo, they'll simply not have a repeat purchase. They're not going to buy it ever again. But if you put a politician in power and he's not the right person, you're stuck with him for 6 years and your children will suffer.
A good first take, but in come the team to make it a better second one. A quick word change to fine-tune the message, a quick tip on how to convey it,
Forward.
and in the close-up world of the TV camera, a quick trim of unsightly nasal hair. In the publicity blitz, getting noticed means getting votes, and having just the right jingle or slogan has never been more important.
The jingles for these candidates would really be a big part of the campaign. Because, these politicians won't be able to go to all the parts in the country, They won't be able to travel really that much. I mean, they can only do so much. I mean, there will be limitations there, but the jingles will get there. Even in the remotest part of the Philippines, it will get there.
Mel Villena is one of the Philippines' best-known musical directors who knows the power of the ditty, having himself indulged to help a friend who was running for mayor.
The name of the guy is Dindo Garciano. Dindo Garciano, and it fits perfectly well because okay, when you say in the vernacular iboto, that means elect, or vote for, or vote, iboto. Okay. Iboto Si Dindo Garciano, iboto. Si Dindo Garciano, iboto. Ating iboto, si Dindo Garciano. And it just keeps on going every day of the week.
And he won.
He won.
Yaikiano has a jingle. She also has a hair salon. As a candidate for councillor, talk in her establishment these days is a heady mix of hair care and politics.
It's good for the hair. But politics and that's lax, and that's...
Knowing the importance of gathering together the supporters to wage a campaign from door to door, and also knowing how far a good lunch goes here in fostering that loyalty.
Will I win? I will win with the support of my people, and I have to win. I will win because the Lord will make me win.
At Yai's local party headquarters, the posters of their man for president, former Philippines police chief Ping
Hi,
Lacson.
good afternoon.
This party, like the others, now working overtime to produce the giveaways, posters and caps that will promote their candidates, both national and local. For the printers of the Philippines, elections are a cause for rejoicing, no matter who wins. One face that doesn't need to be promoted, the man they call the king of Philippines movies, Fernando Poe Jr. From the start, his candidacy surrounded in controversy over his nationality, and launching his campaign with an emotional ramble.
Who would ever think I'd be talking with ambassadors? Can you picture that? I'm talking with ambassadors.
Clearly still not able to believe that he's standing, and neither can many opponents and commentators, getting just as emotional about the prospect of him winning.
His critics accuse him of having neither policies nor experience in government at any level. Drawbacks you would have thought when seeking the job as president. Well, think again.
A strong turnout by TV and film stars to support him at a gathering where it's difficult to tell sometimes who's a real bodyguard, who's a stunt double from the movies, and maybe some who are both. But all of them believing FPJ's lack of experience will play in his favor.
Well, this is the first time that it's going to be a history, because everybody who runs for president usually starts as a senator or a congressman or a councilor or a mayor. This is going to be history.
FPJ may have celebrity fans, but Eddie Villanueva has the biggest celebrity of them all on his side, God. His campaign managers probably wouldn't admit to exploiting the country's Christian convictions, but there's no denying such gatherings pose the question, who would God vote for? Two of the front runners in this political campaign lacking any political experience. That says a lot about the state of Filipino politics right now, and even more about the mindset of the voters in a campaign that could be anyone's.
Coming up, the Myanmar artist who shows a new side of his subjects. But next, will improved security be enough to keep Pakistan's professionals at home? Going abroad to support one's family has become a way of life for many Asian workers. In fact, 4 of the 5 top destinations for remittances are in this region. Pakistan is one of Asia's top exporters of labor, but it's also seen a brain drain of skilled professionals discouraged from returning home to political, social, and economic uncertainty. But that may now be changing, as Joe Kainz found out.
Okay, very good.
So it was this urge, this desperate urge within, go back, go back, go back, I need to go back.
After years of study and work abroad, Seema Ahmed is back. Family ties in her native Pakistan were more important than a relatively lucrative career on offer in the United States. That's where she studied to become a speech therapist, a job only a handful of Pakistanis are trained to do. Shortly after moving here in the fall of 2003, she was employed to treat patients and pass on her skills to others at the charity Maisha Medical Center in Karachi.
So we have 2 boys. I was with them and I had to leave them a lot of times at daycare. So I wanted to have them have a family where they're at no point left on their own. That was very important to me. So that was a big reason, my kids. I think at this stage in globalization, I think it's very important to know your roots. The way things are politically, geopolitically, it's very important to know who you are. And for that particular, for my kids, I really did want to move back.
Ahmed is not alone. A large number of expatriate Pakistanis are heading home or pondering such a move. Figures are hard to come by, but the money trail gives some indication. In the last fiscal year, Pakistan attracted a record $4.19 billion in remittances from citizens overseas, many of whom are preparing for a move homeward. Social activist and economist Asim Sajjad sees a trend dating back to the 2001 terror attacks on the United States.
With the whole geopolitics of September 11, so on and so forth, I think a lot of people are kind of thinking of coming back, to be honest. We've got a lot of huge remittances coming back from people who obviously feel threatened, being Muslims or Pakistanis living abroad, particularly in the West, and potentially the kinds of threats that they perceive to their future and to their children's future.
At the same time, perceptions were changing at home. Anger about Pakistan's support for the U.S.-led war on terrorism has been held in check by the president, General Pervez Musharraf. Financial analyst Faria Tayyab was encouraged enough to give up her home in Canada so she could be closer to her family in Karachi.
There have been improvements in this country, especially with the recent stability of the government. That's definitely a positive sign. And with the very recent rekindling of the relationship with India, that's also a great sign to know that war's not going to break out, anytime soon. And the financial situation seems to have improved. I mean, the equity markets are an all-time high. I mean, that obviously reflects some sort of confidence by the investors into this country. And, generally things have been looking a lot better.
Political commentator Javed Jabbar says the changes have generated an undeniable momentum.
At the moment, I think they are playing it very cautiously, having struggled very hard to acquire dual citizenship, or in cases where countries do not allow dual citizenship, whether it is a green card or a whatever card, they don't want to obviously so easily give it up. But at the same time, there is a new awareness suddenly about the value of being Pakistani. And this is a tremendous feeling. It reinforces this evolving sense of Pakistani national identity.
Dr. Mansoor Ahmad is living proof that Pakistani identity can coexist well with an international outlook. He's been practicing medicine in his native Pakistan for 20 years, even though he could have stayed in England, where he met his wife Susan at a hospital where they both worked.
The image of Pakistan has improved tremendously over the years. It was going downhill before, but it's improved tremendously. And somehow or the other, our politicians have hit the right chord. They've taken us a little bit more seriously.
Nevertheless, there is a mixed level of confidence within Dr. Mansoor's own family. His 16-year-old daughter is focusing on study and a possible career abroad, while his 18-year-old son plans to stay in Pakistan. Mixed feelings among Pakistani young people are not surprising, given the persistence of extremist attacks such as this. In January, several policemen and bystanders were injured when a car bomb tore apart a Christian bookshop near one of Karachi's major hotels. But a short drive away, we found business as usual at an upscale shopping complex.
Discreet security has allowed shops to not only survive, but thrive on proceeds from a growing upper middle class. These retail sanctuaries are an example of what's convincing more and more Pakistanis with links abroad to set down deeper roots in their homeland. But some remain unconvinced, and the reason is not only a question of security. For Seema Ahmed, enthusiasm has been tempered by frustrations about Pakistani bureaucracy and fears that the political situation could shift again.
I'm not sure where I'm going to be right now because things are changing. There's so much in flux that I have no idea whether they're going to move towards a positive end or get from bad to worse. So the minute they get from bad to worse, I'm thinking, do I really want to be here? You see, I'm still in that process of readjusting where I'm looking for a little opening saying, okay, do I want to run back? And you see, and that's what I keep stopping myself. How long am I going to keep running back and forth to find a safe haven?
Businesswoman Farya Tayyab says conservative attitudes in Pakistan are making her rethink her commitment to stay.
There's just a lot of limitations over here that didn't exist in Canada. The biggest one, women's rights, or rather the lack of women's rights over here. And the fact that being a woman here, it's something you're ashamed of.
But others argue that returning expats are a needed catalyst for change.
When I came back from England, I used to think, one man, how can you do this? How can you do that? It's not possible. But believe me, it is possible. You can make a change. If my colleagues abroad come back to this country, they will make a change.
But for Pakistan's overseas professionals to make a real difference, they need to become fully integrated into the political system.
We need the best and the brightest to go into politics, to strengthen democracy, to give the benefit of their talent and their commitment to democracy. Instead of that, we have the virtual opposite. We have the best and the brightest virtually completely removed from the political process. And as a result, we have the upper middle and the middle class who happen to have the advantages of education, overseas education, local education, not contributing.
And perhaps most worrying is the widening gap between the rich and the poor. The challenge now is to find a way to make sure an influx of money and talent from Pakistan's expatriate sons and daughters is given a chance to benefit the nation as a whole.
Still to come, how religion inspired one of Myanmar's best-known artists. To Myanmar now, where despite the country's 40-year isolation, the art scene has remained a vibrant one. One of the country's leading artists is Min Wae Aung, who's been painting for more than a decade. His work is finally attracting international interest and can fetch thousands of dollars. His style is unique. His portraits are of the backs of people rather than their faces. Shakutala Santhiran has the story.
They look almost like photographs. These seemingly half-finished paintings of Myanmar's monks, nuns and novices. But the apparent simplicity is full of subtle detail. To his fans, Min Wae Aung's paintings have a meditative tranquility. Images which hint at the spirit of the people of Myanmar, perhaps better than the work of any other contemporary painter. Min Wae Aung began painting images like these almost a decade ago, after visits to the United States and Japan. The contemporary artists he met there inspired him to move away from painting more traditional landscapes and portraits.
They do more contemporary art, more modern abstract. They play realistic style. I know I must change.
His current work reflects his experience of life in Myanmar, where the people are deeply religious. Most are Buddhist. Religion is woven into the fabric of daily life in Myanmar, and even the simple act of giving alms inspired him.
I remember my childhood in this monastery. I remember the man, their living style. Then I had the idea that I started to paint the man city.
While the imagery of Min Wae Aung's paintings may be religious, that's not the motivation behind them.
No religious. I paint no Buddhist story. They are Buddhist follower. They are living style. Yeah, not Buddhist religious thing. I interested in their movement. They are walking because the many people you can see behind their movement. Very different walking style.
Most of his paintings are of his subjects' backs.
Because the backside is very difficult. Many people say, oh, easy. For me, very difficult because the many head is not interesting for me. Very few people are interesting for me because some head are very similar. Very similar.
Susie Rippingall is a fan of his work. She discovered her Min Wae Aung in a gallery in Singapore.
Well, the most important thing I think he does is to capture movement extremely well. I really enjoy that one. And the other aspect is a sense of perspective. So every time you look at the picture from different angles, it looks different. And finally, it's the degree of detail. You know, if you look at the parasol in this picture, it's absolutely exquisite. So every time I look at the picture, it looks different, and I'm a very happy owner.
Avid art collector Howard Bilton also owns a Min Wae Aung.
I like it because it's a nice, simple image. It's got good colour in it, nothing too complicated. I think it's very well painted. He's got good attention to detail, and I like the religious imagery of it. I've always been interested in religious imagery, although I'm not religious.
Karen Weber represents Min Wae Aung in Hong Kong. His work is also sold in galleries in London and Singapore. Each piece fetches between $2,000 and nearly $10,000 US.
I would say his work is popular internationally, but as a Hong Kong-based gallery, for example, we have not one instance, I think, of a Chinese client buying his work. I don't know why, but they would not even look at his work. So it's international clients who buy from us here in the gallery.
Min Wae Aung's work is so well received, in fact, that other artists in Myanmar and Thailand are copying his style of painting, hoping to cash in on Min Wae Aung's popularity. But there's been criticism that his paintings look too similar, a suggestion perhaps of his beginnings as a graphic artist.
He is aware of being repetitive or using the same subject matter, and he is trying to find ways of how to change, but it will come gradually, I think. If he wants to, he can paint anything he wants. I know, for example, that he is a wonderful watercolor artist, but this current style has made him so popular, and of course also financially it's been extremely rewarding. So he has got quite a dilemma to decide how to go artistically forward in order to fulfill himself as an artist, and at the same time to ensure that he continues to sell his work.
Maybe I will be more continue the style, maybe not. Yeah.
Will he ever paint faces?
Yeah, maybe I face. No, I'm more interested in bed.
For now, Min Wae Aung's current style continues to sell well. Since 1998, Karen Weber has sold some 60 pieces of his art in sell-out exhibitions.
The Burmese art scene is incredibly vibrant, and I would say probably the art scene in Burma is now as it was in Vietnam perhaps 10, 15 years ago. There are a lot of talented artists coming out, and I find it very exciting.
As Min Wae Aung's work and that of other artists gain greater international exposure, so too does Myanmar.
Many the people come to visit my gallery or my exhibition. They're very.
It might